Anne had and had not done. It was extraordinary to watch 3 judges leave the courtroom for about 7 minutes. And then return to give a judgment which lasted at least 40 minutes, and the opinion of the public who've been present today is what we witnessed was a show trial, and basically a preordained outcome was just delivered to the public. The other clue to this is that there's been a lot of people inside that court, all very quiet, well behaved, talking quietly. No problem at all. When we came out of the hearing, suddenly there's a lot of security people, and when we talked to one of those individuals, he said he'd been asked to come down, and obviously they were sent because it was a preordained outcome against Anne and Hollie. So
Brian, what you're saying is they went out for 7 minutes and they came back and gave their judgment over 45 minutes. What you're saying is that they had already made their mind up even before today.
Of course, absolutely obvious. It was theatre. You cannot go through quite a detailed case where a lot of information is being presented and discussed. You cannot then go out and come to a decision which takes you 40 minutes to deliver.
Right.
It must be preordained.
So in layman's terms,
it's a show trial. It was a show trial in order to actually bring the mother and the daughter back into the family court system, where already the state has said that that the girl is vulnerable, the state needs to protect the girl, and of course, why is the state saying they need to protect the girl? Because ultimately the state wants to shut her up.
Okay.
In that court today, the central issue of the abuse, the rape and abuse of this little girl was not addressed. No, a young lady. It was not addressed.
I believe that one of the perpetrators, the alleged perpetrators, was in court.
Yes, in the first session before lunch. We believe that's the case.
Okay.
Yeah, I can only say believe that's the case.
Okay.
But if you actually analyse what has happened here, of course there's no jury. We have 3 judges clearly setting out to support a fellow judge. That is obvious. And it wasn't just the appeal is not upheld. The judge was highly critical of the family and what they have tried to do to protect Hollie at the end of the day.
Okay, Brian, I know it's early days, but what would be your advice to the people that are watching this? What can we all do? What can we all do to help Hollie, to help Robert Greene, and to help Anne?
Unless the public of this country wake up in sufficient numbers to get behind this case and to say, no, we are not having the abuse of children condoned by the court, unless we get people in vast numbers to stand up and be counted, this court case sets a precedent that the state can take any child from anybody without any evidence or other cause. We are very, very close to a Soviet system where children can simply be taken away, and if the parents dare to complain, they will be put in psychiatric units, as the mother has already been. And the fact that today with this case there's no media, there is no BBC, there are no cameras, tell you that in Britain 2012 we are watching a judicial system which is utterly corrupt.
Running amok.
And I am going to use this occasion to say that John Hemming MP has been brave enough to stand up on a stage in public and be filmed saying that in his opinion as an MP, the family courts are utterly corrupt, and he has called for the head of the Family Law Division to stand down. So now we have MPs admitting that the judicial system in this country is not only corrupt, many of us are now totally convinced that it is so corrupt it will act to protect paedophiles, provided they are people of status in society. If you are somebody at the bottom end of the social spectrum and you are caught being a paedophile, the state will throw everything against you. If you are at the upper echelons and you are hidden amongst the senior police, judiciary, military, whatever, the state will protect you.
Brian, if I could just interrupt you, when you was talking about the BBC, ITV, etc., the national media not reporting the story, what I have to tell you is that there were 3 Sky News teams outside. They're waiting for Ryan Giggs. They would not, even with all these people there, they refused to report this.
Yeah.
So I'd like to just back up what you just said. The national media, they are not putting this across, and many other cases, Brian.
Well, what we've got to do now is start asking the questions of the media. It's not enough to say the BBC will not report. We need to say who are the people in the BBC who are stopping this. We need their names, we need to know who they are, and we need to bring them into the public domain. Let's not try and expose an organisation blandly called the BBC. Let us identify the people who are protecting the paedophiles by not reporting what's going on.
Well, the BBC, Brian, risk of teaching my granny how to suck eggs here, they are taking £3.4 billion from the licence payers of this country every year, and they do not represent us, they represent a minority.
Absolutely.
And I suggest that the BBC, if you don't pay your Sky bill, they close you down. If you don't pay your television licence, they'll take you to court.
Yep.
That is state-run TV,
Absolutely.
and that brings us back to the communism that you were talking to, that seems to be practising, and all of us people in this country, they are doing something to us that is taking away our freedom of speech, and there are good people still here.
Well,
we've got them around you at the moment, Brian.
Well, the thing I will say is that the attack is on all of us. It doesn't matter what status you are, it doesn't matter whether you're professional or unemployed, it doesn't matter whether you are black, white, Muslim, Christian. This state is now attacking its own people. And it is obvious that people in Parliament not only know what's going on, they are part of the child abuse system. We have recently written to Sarah Tether, Families and Children's Minister, and we asked a simple question. When it says in your responsibilities that you are responsible for marketing and commissioning of children's services, we simply ask, what does that mean? It sounds like commercial exploitation of children. She will not answer the question. She has not answered a freedom of information request. She has gone silent. And let's not forget, I'm not now talking about Conservatives or Labour, we're talking a Liberal Democrat MP who is hiding to cover up her involvement with what is happening with children. We know from experts amongst the public here that Kent County Council has spent over £100,000 effectively trafficking British children out of the country. We know that the total amount of money that barristers and law firms are making from children's cases is about £20 billion a year.
Unbelievable.
This is massive. And if anybody says to me, David Cameron does not know what's going on, he absolutely knows.
Absolutely. Well, can I interrupt you again? I actually had captured, if you like, Nick Clegg just before the election, and I said to Nick Clegg, what are you going to do about institutional paedophile rings that are operating in this country now? He said, I don't know what you mean by institutional.
Absolutely, because they will deny everything. They cannot look at the evidence, because if they look at the evidence, they're hung by their own petard.
Okay, get this guy.
Here we come.
Okay, God bless you, Brian. Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Welcome. Can I just say, welcome to the Gestapo. Here we have the general public being thrown out of their own court. It is extraordinary, isn't it? Extraordinary.
Yeah, all these people here, and now we have 3 officers. Okay. Let's hear it with Brian Gerrishs.
Well done, Brian. Can you repeat that?
And of course, can we hear it for Hollie Greig and Brian Gerrishs and Robert Green and
Out of the hearing, suddenly there's a lot of security people, and when we talked to one of those individuals, he said he'd been asked to come down, and obviously they were sent because it was a preordained outcome against Anne and Hollie. So
Brian, what you're saying is they went out for 7 minutes and they came back,
which lasted at least 40 minutes, and the opinion of the public who've been present today is what we witnessed was a show trial, and basically a preordained outcome was just delivered to the public. The other clue to this is that there's been a lot of people inside that court, all very quiet, well behaved, talking quietly. No problem at all. When we came
and gave their judgment over 45 minutes, what you're saying is that they had already made their mind up even before today.
Of course, absolutely obvious. It was theatre. You cannot go through quite a detailed case where a lot of information is being presented and discussed. You cannot then go out and come to a decision which takes you 40 minutes to deliver.
Right.
It must be preordained.
So in layman's terms,
it's a show trial. It was a show trial in order to actually bring the mother and the daughter back into the family court system, where already the state has said that that the girl is vulnerable, the state needs to protect the girl, and of course, why is the state saying they need to protect the girl? Because ultimately Anne had not done, and it was extraordinary to watch 3 judges leave the courtroom for about 7 minutes,
if that.
and then return to give a judgment.